the dumpster again, I think about 2 p.m., and I was really excited and nervous. I felt butterflies in my tummy, just anticipating what I was about to do. The dumpster is in the alley behind a restaurant near my house. It gets emptied on Tuesdays, so by Sunday it's pretty stinky and there are flies buzzing around, which means there are things rotting inside there, and that's just perfect for me. A few times in the past, I climbed into that dump and masturbated. Nothing too intense. Most I've ever done was take off pants and hump against the dirty garbage bags. And one time I lay there with my legs spread, watching the flies land on me. So anyway, I walked down the alley to the dumpster, and as usual, I made sure nobody was around, just to be extra careful. You have to go behind a tall wooden fence to even the dumpster, and the restaurant is closed on Sunday anyway, so I knew I wouldn't be noticed. But this time, there's no way I want to be disturbed. I climbed up and over the side and onto my hands and knees into the mass of plastic garbage bags and other miscellaneous. The bags felt warm from the sun. The smell in there was extremely foul, much worse than usual. I knew it was because of my rotting meat. I sat and tried to get myself to relax for a few minutes. There was no reason to hurry. When I was ready, I calmly took off my sandals, my jeans, and my panties. Both pairs. I was wearing 2 pairs of tight bunch of my panty liners in the crotch, which keeps anything in my vagina from coming out when I move around. But I was going all the way this time, so I went ahead and got completely naked. This was a weird feeling, being totally nude inside the dumpster. It was very erotic to me. The sun felt warm on my skin, especially my boobs, which pretty much never see the sun. Oh my god. Oh. Why did you make me? No, I'm not. I said the first few paragraphs only. But it's not even porn. Oh. What? Oh my god. Oh, the expectations are killing me. Alright, I got 9 more minutes. I got back on my hands and knees and crawled to the side of the dumpster. I sat next to my garbage bag, gently picked it up and placed it in front of me. The terrible smell was already stronger. Carefully, I tore the bag open, and there they were. There had to be thousands of maggots, kind of beige yellow with little black spots on them, all writhing in a large mass. I couldn't even see the rotting meat underneath them. Dozens more maggots clung to the inside of the black plastic, which was coated with a thick, light brown slime. It was such a repulsive sight I thought I was going to throw up right there, but I didn't. It took a few minutes to get control of myself, fingering my clit while staring at the maggots, trying to work up the courage to continue. I scooped up some of the slime with my finger and brought it to my nose. I knew what it was from all the reading I'd done before. It was digestive juices from the maggots, full of bacteria, and it smelled just horrible. I thought to myself, that's what I'm going to smell like. That's the stench that's going to come from my vagina. I want that, I thought, spreading my legs wide apart. I dragged my slimy finger between my pussy lips. My clit felt like a hard little pebble beneath the slime. I didn't want to come right then, though, and I was right on the edge of gagging too, but I knew there was no turning back now. So I let my fingers lightly touch the top of the maggot mass. The maggots felt like nothing I'd ever experienced before. They seemed to have such energy, totally different from picking up an earthworm or something, and they felt so alive. I was fascinated and nauseated at the same time. Gently sinking my fingers into the mass, I felt the solid beneath. Gently breaking it apart, I could see the meat had turned grey except for the very center, which was still pink. That the maggots had penetrated into it, but not deeply yet. There was plenty of food for my filthy little babies. I broke off a small chunk of meat that was covered on one side with maggots and held it for a moment while I fought back another urge to vomit. It was finally time, I thought. I leaned forward and holding my pussy lips apart with one hand, I gritted my teeth and pushed the maggot-covered chunk of meat into my vagina. And then, totally without had an orgasm. A quick, sharp one that only made me want more. Oh my god. So, I'm not sure I can go through with it. Couple more paragraphs. And more was coming. I broke off another small chunk of meat, along with another part of the maggot mass and pushed it inside me. This one had more maggots on it, and I stopped for a moment to see if I could feel them inside me. I wasn't sure I could, but it didn't matter. I wanted them all. I needed to take them all inside me. With that thought, I went sort of wild. I started pushing bigger chunks of meat and maggots, and even handfuls of maggots, just maggots into me, over and over. I was practically hyperventilating, too. I wasn't thinking at all about the noise I must have been making, but now I could definitely feel the maggots squirming inside my vagina. Just the idea of it made me come again. Finally, once I had crammed all the rotten meat and all the maggots I could inside me, I felt so filthy, so disgusting, like I turned myself some low, depraved sort of beast. And that made me so incredibly hot, together with the constant movement of the maggots inside me. But it was time to go. Holding my hand over my crotch, I slowly crawled back to my clothes and managed to get dressed again without anything coming out. I put the gloves back into my pocket and climbed out of the dumpster. And right then I could hold back the revulsion of what I'd done no longer. Holding myself up against the side of the dumpster, I threw up. Ever vomited while you were horny? Weird. Oh my god, I have to take regular breaks. Yeah, I know. I'm more just bothered that my brother's in the house at the same time. I'm afraid he might have heard me like 3 or 4 times. It's disturbing the hell out of me. It's not the breaking points. I told you. It's because my brother is in the house. And I think he might have heard me like 4 times. That's a really, really, really disturbing thought. I can't. Can't do it. Huh? Yeah. Oh no, they don't check the mail. As long as I've got a... Oh my god, no car. Oh my god. Okay, fine. I'll do as much as I possibly can before my parents get home. Walking home down the alley, I felt like I was in a daze. I kept asking myself how I could have done this to myself, but then asking why I'd waited so long. I had to walk slowly to make sure nothing got squeezed out of my vagina, but also to keep from coming again. I found myself amazed at the whole thing. I had stuffed the most intimate part with myself with these things that were too disgusting even to even touch without gloves, and that I was totally getting off on it. Once I was home, I locked myself in my bedroom, took off my clothes except for my double panties, and got into bed. I closed my eyes to let myself feel the maggots squirming inside me. For a while I tried to watch TV, but I couldn't really pay attention to it. The maggots were too wonderfully distracting. I skipped dinner. Later on, when I really had to pee, I did it by taking down my panties and holding my hand over my crotch, wearing the rubber gloves, of course. Next morning, I called off of work after being awake most of the night. I mainly stayed naked in my bed all day masturbating, barely getting up for anything. Do nothing but let my nauseating little babies grow inside my pussy. Pretty early, though, I realized the smell was getting really horrible. I opened the window. I also wet a bath towel and stuffed it under my bedroom door. Didn't want my parents to get to... I can really feel the maggots. Yum. Alright. It's like 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs ago. A little later on, I realized that I didn't need the panties to hold the mass and the meat inside me. The mass pretty much stayed in place as long as I laid kind of still. I thought, hey, that guess I means I'm infested, which made me come again. I was always right on the edge of orgasm, and it didn't take much to go over the edge. I also noticed the maggots seemed to be more active if I kept my legs apart and realized that they probably needed to breathe. So that's how I stayed a lot of the time. I did get up and read my email and posted an update to my web page, but I couldn't seem to think clearly enough to write much. Then I had to pee again, but I didn't want to get up, so I just peed in the bed. It made me come. I just wanted to keep feeling the maggots moving, and they were. They seemed even stronger, or in anything. I was totally in heaven with it. I didn't eat it all, either. I heard my parents come home from work. During the evening, my mum said hello through the door and wondered why I was staying in my room like a hermit. I said I was reading a novel all the way through at once, which I actually do sometimes. She left me alone. I hope she didn't smell anything. I surfed web for a while that night and looked at porn. I came to a few more times. I decided to go ahead and take a shit in my bed right where I was. That just made me more turned on and ended up smearing some of my shit over my thighs and my pussy and coming again. Noticed that the maggots started coming out a bit. Maybe they like the shit. A couple of times one would creep up on my belly. I just flick it back down between my legs. I was getting tired at that point. It was really time for sleep, and my vagina was throbbing and kind of sore from all the attention. But I was most worried about making sure my maggots could breathe while I was sleeping. Somehow, I managed to find the energy to place a chair in my bed, and use sheets to tie my ankles to them. That would keep my legs apart during the night. I pulled the blankets over myself and dozed off lying in my piss and shit. For the most part, I slept through the night, but I kept waking up sweating, with my vagina throbbing worse. I knew I was getting a bad infection from this, but I didn't care. I was not thinking right. I could also feel maggots crawling all over me. I guess that I decided that I liked how to play with my clit until I came again. I don't know, realize at the time that I wasn't wearing the rubber gloves anymore. I'd fall back to sleep and wake up again with little phases running through my head. Other girls have babies, but I give birth to decay and filth, I keep thinking to myself. I'd say that I'm probably ruining my womb and I don't care. I want to be ruined. I know I must have been hallucinating from the infection. I was hoping the maggots were eating my vagina instead. My fingers were buried inside my vagina, with my fingertips against part of the meat. Whenever I pressed on it, the maggots would go faster and I'd climax again. I could do it over and over and keep coming. Finally, it was Tuesday morning and sunlight made me wake up. I knew I was really, really sick at that point. Nope, parents were home.